Well, welcome to our Weather Impact Report, where we take a look at the top weather stories here in Georgia and around the nation. I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss. Rock slides, tornadoes, wildfires, hurricanes, and heat. This was another wild weather week around the nation. The week started off with severe weather in the Midwest. A funnel cloud was spotted in Minnesota on Monday. Check out this video. According to the National Weather Service, a funnel was also spotted in nearby St. Clair. There are also reports of 2 tornadoes touching down in the area. And the National Weather Service said there were also twisters in the Grand Forks and Duluth forecast areas. That same storm system brought heavy rain and flooding in other parts of Minnesota. This video shows the flash flooding. It was taken by a resident that lives on that street. That was just the beginning of the severe weather that rolled through the state of Minnesota. In some areas, large hail pounded cars and homes. 11 Alive's Dan Kennedy was actually in Minnesota this week with a closer look at the damage.
We got reports of baseball-sized hail here in Waconia last night. Imagine hail this size slamming down into your car, on your roof. That's what happened for a lot of folks here. And with sunrise today, they're now out assessing any potential damage, though as of last night, no reports of any major widespread damage here in Waconia. Here are some of the photos and videos a lot of you sent us last night. Here in the western suburbs, it came down fast and hard. We're talking big chunks of ice pummeling cars, rooftops, and yards during those early evening storms. Across the area, multiple confirmed tornadoes in northern Minnesota and several other suspected ones. There was one tornado reported in Mankato. It was on the weaker end. The tornadoes all part of a wild weather day that brought hot sun, high humidity, and storms firing up fast. And then all that rain we got closer to Minneapolis causing some issues. Utapils Brewing, they posted some pictures of flooding outside their building, but also inside, soaking their tap room. Their building backs right up to Bassett Creek, and that brewery had to close down Monday to clean up the mess. As those homeowners here in Waconia start to assess any potential damage today, we'll be sure to pass along any reports that we hear of. Reporting in Waconia, Dan Kennedy, KARE 11 News.
Well, multiple tornadoes were confirmed in northern Minnesota. Here's a video of them. The tornadoes hit during the day of a wild weather day. Everything from heat and humidity to sunshine to rapid rainfall. It seems like every week we are hearing new stories about strength and triumph for those that live in St. Louis. This week we are hearing Garfield Lacey's story. For nearly 5 hours, he was buried underneath his 2-story brick home after the deadly and historic tornado devastated North St. Louis, the neighborhood, in May. His house and other buildings were leveled after the storm swept through the region, killing 5 people and causing more than $1.5 billion of damage. Megan Kieran has more.
You're just not supposed to walk away from carnage like this.
Dude, almost like an airstrike, man.
Yeah. 1 month ago, the sinister spring skies spun up a swift wrecking ball. Mother Nature packed a furious punch.
I never felt that kind of pain before. I mean, it was smashing me.
Garfield Lacey was buried alive.
Right here. Just the force of all of the bricks, the attic, the second floor, the roof, everything was on top of me, man.
Pinned in the dark and choking on gas, he let out a desperate gasp for help.
We hear him in the basement and there's an active gas leak. Can you see my light? Okay, so he's more over there.
He couldn't see it, but he could hear his heroes on the way. New body camera shows the obstacles St. Louis police officers encountered.
No, the window barred up on the side.
Everything's fired up. We just need to pass the stuff back.
Hey, don't panic. Keep talking.
1 month later, watching it back, Garfield can only shake his head in awe.
We're going to point to the top of the house here. There's a firefighter trying to make his way up. That's a pretty dangerous climb there.
All that weight was slowly crushing him.
Man, I'm telling you, I didn't have another 30 minutes in me, man. I was gone.
30 days later, what would he say to the firefighters who saved his life?
Man, hey, man, thank you. A hug, man, that ain't enough, man. Man, them straight angels. They angels, man. They put their life in risk.
He didn't know it, but as he was watching those clips, the very same firefighters, Garfield's angels, were on their way back to the scene.
Man, that's speechless. I don't even know what to say, man.
You don't need to say anything, man. We're just glad you're here. You're a tough son of a gun, because I don't know if I could have been in there for as long as you were in there.
5 hours, man, holding the whole weight of that house up. I said, damn, this house just fell on me. Nobody at the gym can mess with me. All I just tell, man, I live 3,900 square feet of brick for 5 hours, hell, just like that.
His survival story serving as a symbol of strength in a resilient city.
I don't know. If I am,
The thumbs up, while you being on the stretcher, I mean, that was really cool to see,
Yeah. I had to let him know I was alive.
Right.
That signature gesture, now captured in time, in between the men who morphed the worst day of his life into the rest of it.
If I had $1 million, I would give it all to y'all and just I'll stay broke for the rest of my life. As long as I got my life, man, y'all gave me a whole nother chance to live, man.
Well, this week, Mexico had to brace for 2 separate tropical storms. The first was Tropical Storm Dahlia. The storm caused major flooding in the city of Acapulco in the west southern coast of Mexico, affecting dozens of families in residential areas. National Guard officers were deployed to help with search and rescue, and an emergency plan was activated to assist the affected residents. Mexico also faced Tropical Storm Eric. Eric rapidly intensified to a hurricane Wednesday morning. The Category 1 storm reached wind speeds of 75 miles per hour. It was centered about 160 miles southeast of Puerto Angel, Mexico. But by the time the storm made landfall on Thursday morning, it was a powerful Category 3 hurricane, bringing strong winds and dangerous flooding across the southern coast. Authorities say that at least 2 people have died after days of heavy rain. One of those that passed away was a 1-year-old baby that was swept away by floodwaters when a teenage mom tried to cross a rising river. Officials say nearly 190 people had to take shelter, but they've since returned home. Georgia's weather was quiet on Monday, but the pop-up thunderstorms on Tuesday packed a powerful punch. There were damage reports across North Georgia after several severe thunderstorm warnings. Check out the damage in Coweta County. This is just outside of Newnan on Sewell Mill Road. We spoke with Gary Parham, who had 2 rental homes on his farm damaged by large trees. This is the home he grew up in. Fortunately, the family who is renting it out was out of town. You can see this large tree basically splitting the home in 2. A workshop behind the house also had a tree fall on top of it.
Very loud wind. The other house down here had another tree blow down. I don't know whether it was a small tornado or just a downburst. It was one or the other because it's kind of in a line where it all wound up. I suspect it was a downburst more than a small tornado.
Then check this out. Just down the road, a tree crashed through this home's front porch, landing on the roof. The whole porch is destroyed, leaving a hole in the roof. No one was hurt there either. Our crews say they saw a lot of trees down along Sewell Mill Road that they had already been cut up. There were also several other spots in the nearby area that saw trees and power lines down in Coweta County. Just before 6 p.m., the storms began moving through metro Atlanta with winds and rains picking up. That's when we spotted a tree down in the eastbound lanes of I-20. That's right. That was near Fulton Industrial Boulevard. You can see it at the top left corner of your screen. The cars are trying to dodge it there. Locally, it just backed up traffic until it could be removed. No accidents were reported. Check out this video sent to our weather impact team from Patty Bailey Smith in Alpharetta. A downpour, high winds and thunder in Alpharetta there. Some homeowners were left on cleanup duty Wednesday morning after heavy rain and strong winds. And in some areas, residents were still left in the dark. Our crews were on Fairburn Road, just off Campbellton Road near Ben Hill Park. They saw multiple homes still without power. At one point, Georgia Power reported outages affecting over 4,500 customers. Tuesday was a busy weather day for other parts of the country as well. Flash flooding near Pittsburgh created a very scary situation for a large group of Girl Scouts who had to be rescued by firefighters. Here's their story.
About 100 Girl Scouts were getting ready for lunch at their pavilion in North Park when things quickly took a turn.
It started raining really hard. Well, we continued to cook, but then they blew the emergency horn. It was crazy because it just started pouring. It just came pouring down like a curtain of water on yourself.
What the heck is happening?
The nearby creek started overflowing.
I was freaked out. I hate exactly what that I'm scared of thunderstorms.
The group of Girl Scouts became stranded due to the flash flooding.
There was water everywhere, and we looked over and there was water in the parking lot flooding over the road. And so we quickly grabbed all of our food and walked up to the cabin, and then we just got evacuated from there.
I had to stay calm because the other girls were freaking out too. So I sang some songs. I tried to cheer them up.
Firefighters, police, EMS, and swiftwater crews showed up to help. They had to deploy a rope to help get all the girls to safety.
It was flooding, and then all the firefighters came and carried us and walked with us to the other side.
We were walking next to a hole, so it was very scary.
Allegheny County officials say no one was injured. Parents are breathing a sigh of relief. Their children are home safe and dry.
They were in good hands. I was never worried because I know that the Girl Scout organization is a really good organization.
Very happy that everyone's safe, and they had an adventure to tell.
They will remember this for years to come. Thank you to all the first responders, because we truly appreciate it. It's crazy how quickly things can turn. We never thought we'd have to use the emergency response, our text chain or whatever, and then sure enough, here we are.
Thank you so much for helping us.
Well, heavy rains have brought lots of flooding to the country this year. At least 7 lives were lost in the flash flooding across Ohio County, West Virginia, one of the worst tragedies in the history of the county. Olivia Zinn spoke to one family who will never be the same.
The house went off a foundation. We sit there and tilted. The walls opened up, and it was a battle from there.
What once was a multi-generational Triadelphia home is now just mud and memories. The Creightons tragically lost their 19-year-old son, Travis, in Saturday's flash flood.
His heart was so big, so big.
My parents didn't have to bury his child. That's not supposed to happen.
This is where they lived for 26 years. They raised Travis here, and now it's all washed away.
It all began around 8:30 p.m. when Brian Creighton, Travis's father, saw that Little Wheeling Creek was rising at a rate he'd never seen before. He moved their cars to a safer location, but in just minutes, Travis and his wife Donna, who were once upstairs, were now underwater.
I had to push away because I was supposed to hold on to my son. He said, "Don't let go," but I had to. And we found each other again, and he said, "Mom, just swim, swim." I said, "I'm trying, baby, I'm trying." And then I just kept going underwater. We got separated.
That's when she held on to a tree as long as she could, but the water moved her so fast, she let go. The debris slowed her down, saving her life.
It's nothing short of a miracle. I mean, she literally traveled about 5 miles in the Rapid Creek water all the way down to the skate park, over by 470 from our home here.
But their son, who would have turned 20 next month, wasn't so lucky. Those scars now live on. Their furniture, their relative's house next door, and the creek, just stark reminders of what they've lost.
Because that was a big deal, going down that river, going down the creek, trying to survive.
The Creightons say they're still searching for their 3 dogs and just hoping to recover from this horrible tragedy. I'm Olivia Zinn reporting.
A rock slide and flooding caused a major part of I-40 in both directions to be closed on Wednesday. The Tennessee DOT reported the rock slide Wednesday evening along I-40 near the Tennessee-North Carolina border. Since then, all stuck vehicles have been removed.
Well, anytime you have something of this nature happen, which is obviously a force of nature, then when you come out of it with no injuries, we are very blessed and fortunate to be able to get through that. And so we're just happy about that. But much of it is due, as has already been said, to our first responders.
In other parts of the country, wildfires have been a growing concern. A fast-growing wildfire in southern Utah has destroyed at least a dozen structures, while hundreds more remain threatened. Over 400 people have been evacuated as high winds worsen the Forsyth fire's spread. The wildfire was last listed at about 1,500 acres in size, with zero containment, according to fire officials on Saturday. The cause of the fire is still being investigated, but authorities believe it was started by a lightning strike. Another sign that the year is flying by, summer officially started on Friday, and it came in hot for many Americans. A major heat wave is blanketing the eastern half of the United States. The National Weather Service says more than 15 million people from Washington, D.C. to Florida are dealing with level 3 of 4 major heat risk through Thursday. Many places will deal with temperatures in the low to mid 90s, and in the humidity, and some areas can expect heat indices reading in the triple digits. A heat dome is expected to expand this weekend and cover parts of the southern plains, the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Those regions could feel temperatures at least 15 degrees warmer than usual. Forecasters say, well, more than 100 daily temperature records could be broken. And if you're spending time outside, now's just time to start thinking about safety. 11 Alive's Chase Howell has what you need to know as the temperatures continue to rise around the East Coast.
Whether you're lying in it, biking in it, or doing a light jog in it, the sun is going to be heating things up for the start of summer. And for some people at Piedmont Park Friday, they're pulling out all the stops to keep cool and safe from the sun.
I definitely don't wear long sleeves in the heat or anything, but just protecting, my skin, my face, my arms and everything, legs. Just trying to stay cool, wearing a fan, keep it a fan, stay in the air conditioning.
Another key component when being out in the sun is staying hydrated. Doctor's orders.
You want to try and avoid all those sugary drinks, which are not very healthy for you in the long term. And also water is, it's much more freely available, and it just really rehydrates you a lot better than those sports drinks.
Dr. Stephen Palti is the Chief Medical Officer for United Healthcare. He says applying sunscreen is just as important when outdoors.
More skin cancers are diagnosed than all the other cancers combined every year. And most of the skin cancers are related to sun exposure. So everybody needs to be wearing sunscreen.
Plus, Peyton Coleman says it's trendy.
I've been doing it for a long time. That's how you keep it nice and preppy and nice and glowy and everything. So just making sure I'm protected with sunscreen and protecting my body.
Another important thing the doctor mentioned was making sure you reapply your sunscreen every 2 hours. And if you're in a pool, be sure to reapply more often. What about if you're planning a long drive? There are a few safety tips you should take before heading out. Here's more on how you can keep safe on the roads in the summer heat. If you're planning on a long drive during these temperatures, there are safety tips you should keep in mind. Before getting behind the wheel, make sure to fill up your gas tank and try to keep it about 3/4 full. Test your car battery and ensure it's up to par and has enough fluid. Check your tire pressure to reduce the chances of a blowout. For every 10-degree temperature change, your tires will lose or gain air. And don't forget to pack an emergency travel kit with items such as extra water, a cell phone charger, and a first aid kit. Temperatures are expected to climb well above average throughout the week, and as homeowners try to stay cool without running up their energy bills, experts say small steps can make a big difference. Simple ways include charging your air filter, changing it regularly, rinsing off outdoor AC units, using exhaust fans after showers, and keeping doors closed to hold in cold air. Georgia Power is offering safety tips and tools to help you manage those summer energy bills. We've got a full list of resources right now on 11alive.com. You'll find this story on our homepage. As this jam-packed weather recap comes to a close, we want to bring you good news out of Henry County, a story that we have been following from the beginning about a young man who was sucked out of his bedroom by a tornado. As of this week, he is now walking out of rehab. It's not just his recovery, it's something his family calls a miracle. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn sits down with Malachi Cheney just 3 weeks after the EF2 tornado nearly killed him.
I still in shock that how fast I recovered.
Malachi Cheney spent his 19th birthday in the ICU. Today, he's walking and talking, and even he can't believe it.
It's a blessing from God, honestly, that I'm still here.
Malachi doesn't remember anything about the storm.
I don't remember that tornado hitting me, and I don't remember that week or my 2 weeks at Grady. I don't remember any of that.
He was thrown hundreds of feet into the air, tossed into a field behind his home, suffering a traumatic brain injury, broken ribs, and a punctured lung. He woke up confused, thinking it was all a bad dream.
I thought I was having a bad dream. Just a blessing that I'm living and still able to get up and watch TV and eat breakfast food and all of that.
He's already thinking about what comes next, including going back to see what's left of his home.
I do want to see it in person, just to look at it and just look at it in awe in a way, just like, dang, so this really did happen. Yeah.
And eventually getting back to college and his passion for acting.
Just getting back to Savannah and, getting back to acting like my love.
But first, there's something else on his mind.
Getting my PlayStation back, yeah. And my PlayStation was destroyed.
And hoping to get that visit from Shaq.
How is your Uncle Shaq?
I was pretty starstruck seeing that message from Shaq. Him saying it's your Uncle Shaq.
Malachi's dad, Trey Chaney, survived too.
Thinking of the image of my dad crawling out beneath the house and then just shouting my name.
Malachi's journey isn't over. He'll begin daily therapy with Pathways, but his dad says they're already living a miracle.
But to see him now walking with his neck brace, talking, all of the beautiful things that Shepherd Center has done for our son, Grady Hospital saving our son's life, getting him prepared to come to Shepherd, it's a blessing from God.
Cody Alcorn, 11 Alive News.
A blessing for sure. Malachi says he's officially released from the Shepherd Center and begins outpatient therapy very, very soon. As for their home, the family says they do not plan to live in the same area again, but they do say they plan to return to Henry County. With your weather recap, I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss. Stay safe this week.